Hi everybody, this is Corey from the Welcome Home team here at Rini, sitting down today with Mike Jones from Hackensack Brewing. Second time we've had a brewery on here, but we're going to talk a little bit differently today about what's going on. So Mike, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers, man. So Mike, you've been around about a year and a half now? How does one get into doing something like that?
Honestly, just started with brewing, to make beer at home. That was about 15 years ago, and then just spent time just getting better. You always have this dream of opening a brewery, but it's kind of in the background. But I just brewed for years and years. I was working 2 jobs at the time, so once I had a kid, it was kind of slowed down a little bit. And honestly, I got tired of working for other people, and I started thinking about ways that maybe I can make this kind of work for me long term. So just read as much as I could about beer, brewed as much as I could, talked to as many people I could that own breweries.
Right.
I brewed at about 3 or 4 places commercially, not as a job, just as, hey, can I help out? You kind of shadow the people, but experience shows that if you lend a helping hand enough, and you're not a complete pain in the ass, people will want to have you around. And you take people's brains. In this industry, people want to help.
I've seen that a lot myself.
Yeah.
I go to a lot of different breweries. I love drinking beer and meet people, and it just seems like there's such a culture around everybody chipping in and helping each other out.
I mean, the people that are very, very helpful. That's a quick city help me so much. When I have new breweries or people that have questions, I always make sure that I help them the most I can because people did it for me. And again, sometimes just even when they let me work for them, like for example, for Chris, I did a lot of their events, shows that they would do, and I don't think it was weird. Like I learned a lot from that, and then you talk to other people. It's like anything in life. You got to get out there and talk to people, and you're going to learn something. Even the stuff that doesn't seem helpful, sometimes you learn how not to do things. So there's a lot of value in that too.
I know that. Yeah, absolutely. So why Hackensack? Any specific reason that you chose Hackensack?
I grew up in Hackensack next door. I've been here for about the past 16 years. I started brewing beer in Hackensack. I worked at Hackensack Medical Center for 19 years. I've always kind of loved the city. Even growing up in the town next door, it was like, Hackensack is a very small town, and like a lot of towns around here, it's 1 square mile that stays to itself. But I always loved as a kid taking the bus to Hackensack. It's funny, it actually started, I kind of fell in love with the city when we had a very small library. I was a very avid reader as a kid, and the Hackensack library was great. It was great. I remember taking the 70 now. I used to take the B80 bus in to Hackensack and go to Johnson Public Library. And that was like I'd never seen anything like that before. As a kid, so it was like I would come in just to spend all day in the library, read through books and stuff, and then you meet people. It's like I started working here in '97 on the loading dock in the hospital, and then I got a job in the laundry. Then eventually I got a job as an aide in radiation therapy as well as in X-ray. And then I went to school for radiation therapy at Small Kettering in the city, and I was a radiation therapist for the past 15 years. But like anything, I wanted to go out and do my own thing. I miss certain elements of that, but at the same time, this is my baby. So it's
you can see that there's a lot of passion and a lot of creativity in what you do here. The events that you host, the way that the cans are designed, is everything cool, like graffiti on the outside. To put down. So you've been here about a year and a half. How many people do you have working?
Right now I think we're at about 15 people.
15. Yeah. What did you start with?
Me, doing all the brewing. So I have 3 partners, very good friends, that we all kind of came up together. But none of them are in the business, so they're kind of trusting me to do this thing. So when we started, I was doing all the brewing, doing all the kegging, doing all the sales, doing all the delivery, doing all the marketing, all the social media, running a tap room. We had hired, I think, I probably had about 5 bartenders that we brought in on a part-time basis in the beginning. And then as time went on, I realized, it's the old saying, do you want to work at your business or do you want to run your own business? And I realized that as much as I love brewing beer, I was going to have to let go of that. I was going to take the business somewhere.
Well, that's a huge step to go from being hands-on day to day and doing
scary.
Yeah, no, so a year and a half has come, and we've just, we're still kind of in the midst of it. Well, not kind of, but we are.
We're in the midst of it.
We're in the midst of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys had to obviously pivot your business model, that you couldn't have a full tap room and everything going on. So how did what did the transition look like for you when everything started?
We had to pivot everything. Right, the way our business is based really is primarily out of the tap room. So the plan from the beginning was, mostly tap room. Here's the thing, in a brewery, the tap room kind of keeps you afloat because your profit margin is a lot higher, right? The beer that I sell to the glass, I can make more money on than the beer that I sell to a liquor store.
Sure.
But the thing is, there's only so many of you that can fit in here, and there's so many beers that you can drink.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's a bigger profit margin, you're also limited by your space or parking. But in the beginning, the plan was that the tap room was going to hold us up while we built up our distribution. And the plan is to get, I don't want to say I want the beer everywhere right away. We're trying to grow responsibly, but the plan is I want to get it out there. I don't want beer. I want people drinking when we're not looking. You know what I mean? That's important to me. It's the reach that you can get for distribution for your, your Hollywood liquors, your Stu Lemons, your Bottle Kings, your Mason Cellars. I mean, this is when people grab beer for a barbecue. I mean, not everybody's going to be able to make it here. So I mean, to me, there's a lot of value in getting that beer out there to liquor store and stuff. But we started off. We had about when COVID hit, I think we were just at around 50 draft accounts, which are bars. One thing that saved us is we had purchased a canning line in September. So that investment enabled us to then have packaged beer, and that was huge. I mean, that was a big deal because that was out of our draft accounts. All of them closed.
Mm-hmm.
So now I had a full refrigerator filled with, 50, 60 kegs, probably more, of beer that we couldn't really sell. So obviously we had people come here, they would fill growlers, not really growlers actually, because
No,
we didn't.
We didn't fill growlers.
We didn't fill growlers,
Just cans.
but we did crowlers as well. But what we did was, John Henry, our head brewer, he basically pulled all the beer out of kegs and then put it in cans, and that changed everything. That little pivot right there actually changed our business in a lot of ways. So a good friend of ours, TJ, and we'd always talk about marketing and stuff, and he always had ideas on label design. And I went to him and said, look, I got 12 different beers, but we don't have any labels for them. And I'm telling you, man, we sat there and we talked about every beer. This is what we want to do, this is what we want to do. We wound up coming out with 12 different beers that said limited edition quarantine cans on them. And credit to him.
Yeah, I had a whole bunch.
Yeah, and credit to him, we banged them out within a week. So, all of a sudden we put out these 12 beers, and to people that had never been here, it looked like we put out 12 new beers.
Mm-hmm.
So people kept sending me things from Reddit, all these, Facebook groups, like Hackensack Brewing put out 12 new beer. Well, again, that's cool, but they were actually, if you had been here,
Right.
it was Moment's Notice, it was Fairmount Pale Ale, it was, prior to that, we only had Parking Lot Fills and Musty Haze in cans. That's the only kind of label.
Those were the two original ones.
And again, a lot of that was on me. I was stretched too thin. My bandwidth was only so much, but this forced us to change our business model into packaged goods. And because of that, it got us into, okay, you know what? Every beer we come out with now, having a label is part of it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It may not be a beer that we're planning on mass distributing, but maybe it's something we just want to sell in-house, but now everything has a label. So now, we probably have, I would say like 30, 35, 40 beers that have their own labels. So, in a way, it made us stronger because now that's a new part of our business. Where it was, okay, I got Pilsner, I got an IPA that are available. Now we have everything available. That was like a big deal.
Well, that's a huge pivot that you made.
Yeah, big time.
It's helping you
Yeah, big credit to TJ
all of
for
this.
that.
Yeah. So I know that you had the tent outside that was rocking people. That was good. You got some wind damage. Pretty funny video. Like, we're still here. So I know that that's down. So going into the cold weather months, obviously still having occupancy restrictions, how are you going to still service your clientele and people who still want your beer other than packaged goods?
So there's a couple things we looked at. I looked at doing so basically what happens is after November 30th, the tent is then has to pass the building basically what it came down to was we were going to need a snow rated tent, which was fine, we found it. But we were also going to need full building plans if we were building a house. Okay. So this is now bringing in architects, structural engineers. So, you know, again, it wasn't so much a cost thing. I mean, you know, it wasn't. I'm not worried about spending the money because I think you'll make it back pretty quick. But at the same time, what happens when that's over? Now, like, I want my son's tent back for half price. Is it tent what people want? If it's open on all sides, right? Is that even going to keep people warm? You know what I mean? Like, because once you close it on all sides, now it's a part of indoor dining. So you can only have 25% in the tent. Now, some executive orders have come out recently that have changed some things where now people can actually come inside. You can actually be less than 6 feet now, as long as there's a non-porous divider between you. So you're going to see you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff happen. You're going to see a lot of shower curtains hanging off of things. I'm telling you, it's coming. If you haven't seen it yet, you're going to see a lot of businesses getting creative, which honestly, like, out of adversity comes some of the best ideas. So, like, you know, to me, this is, I don't want to say an opportunity, that's what I'm saying. A global pandemic is a time to be opportunistic, that's not what I mean, but like, it's a time to say, okay, here's the problem, here's how we're dealing with it. So what we're doing right now is we're gonna have the inside open, socially distant, and, you know, responsible with the amount of people that we can have. And the outside, I'm creating a freaking winter wonderland. So we're doing open flame, we're doing fire pits, we're doing comedy nights. I mean, we're gonna have live music. We're gonna have stuff like that again. This is stuff I have to submit permits for with ABC, but listen, you have to. The experience has to be the thing that you know. Hopefully the beer's good, people like that, right? I mean, but now you have to add more layers to what you are to get people to come out and cold, right?
You have to sell the experience along with the product.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you guys for just a minute. If folks, if you notice behind them, we've got a kung fu movie going on. So this is something you can.
They're gonna be outside too. Listen.
That's my question. Are we having movies outside?
So we already do it. So we do Wu-Tang Wednesdays, and we have a DJ that comes in every other Wednesday, and we show kung fu movies on the side of the building, and that's going to continue through the entire winter. And you know what the thing is with beer, people will. I know this because I drank in the cold for a long time, right? You know, like I started drinking. You know, I was like 15 years old. I was outside drinking 40s cold beverage. Like that was a thing. Right? So people will drink outside. I think restaurants have a greater challenge right now because you know it's hard sometimes to get somebody to come out and sit down for dinner. So I think that's where you're going to see more of like we're seeing it in local businesses. What Ben over Casual Ben has got pods, you know, so I mean, like, they're going overboard to create an experience for you where you go in and it's safe from a social distance standpoint, but you're warm, you know, like, but my thing is that doesn't work as well for us. So we might try the pods, but in our setting, we've been here once or twice. In our setting, last week, in our setting, it's more of a social. Sometimes you're talking to people 2 tables over, and there's a whole, you know, the beer garden thing and the packing thing is, we see so many people coming in that never met each other and they're having full conversations by the end of the night. Again, COVID changes that, so I'm not saying like, you know, we want everybody up on each other, but I mean, I don't know that those bubbles work as well for us, where people want to kind of come out and have that event. So you know what, I mean, like I said, and the reason I bring up, drinking outside, if you grew up in this area, you're used to the winters. And you know what? If there's a fire, if there's some source of heat, you're not scared to have some beers outside. So we got custom blankets coming in. We have branded scarves coming in. We're going to be giving out hand warmers. We have fires that we're going to have outside. And the fire department's been very good with that as long as we're doing it safely. You know, they're good with it. You know, I mean, they've been super helpful. And this is a city too that, you know, and again, Hackensack has a history with fire department stuff. They had fire back in the 80s. We had 5 firemen lost. So like, the city of Hackensack's fire department is like absolutely. And they err on the side of doing whatever is the safest they've just been, I mean, everything's been smooth so far, you know what I mean? We couldn't have shooters under the tent. I understand, I'm not gonna complain about that, because if that's the rule, that's the rule. You're doing it for a reason. Fire is something serious, you know what I mean? Yeah, but you know what? Because we're doing it safely, we're allowed to do so we basically got open fire propane, which got from our propane over in Lower. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, everything's in adaptation right now. So we're gonna have TVs outside, we're gonna be showing stuff outside, we're gonna have DJs regularly. We're gonna give people reason to come out. You know, like I said, people will drink outdoors. You know, they may not sit down and have a full meal outdoors, but they can get around fire with friends and sit down.
Well, it's still gonna be that environment, that social environment, and, this helps a little bit to just hang out, the more you up on a cold winter day, the more you go, so.
You know what it is too? There's the nostalgia component of it as well. Like, people are gonna remember what they did during the winter of COVID, right? And if you could be there and give people that kind of outlet, and give people that environment to make those memories, like, you know what, that sticks, man. And it's one of the reasons, like, Minnesota can hit like, I don't want to let people off. I want it to be like, look, we hit and we adapted. That's super important. And I think it's super important to our employees, it's super important to people that come here. It's amazing how much, it's amazing like the outpouring of thanks that we get, like we're first responders or something. Like I've had fire and I'm like, thank you so much for everything. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you're running into burning homes. Like we're literally selling beer.
This definitely helped a lot of people get the quarantine a little bit easier.
But it's so crazy because it did. Like,
It totally did.
I don't know, man. I'm still trying to we're still in the middle of it, so it's hard to wrap your head around something that's still going on. But I think making that attempt to wrap your head around it while it's going on is how you get it done. So, look, we're gonna do what we can do. I don't know what's gonna work outside during the winter, but you're never gonna get ahead of us if it's winter.
You're gonna give it a shot. Mike, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
But, thank you so much. Both here and cheers. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us out and about here in Hackensack. Come see Mike at Hackensack.